What would you do if God was real? What if he wanted you dead? In the world of Bloodrive, my Bronze Age biopunk fantasy setting, that's the case. The gods of Bloodrive are primordial beings, completely outside human comprehension. Each one embodies different aspects of reality: time, death, rain, wisdom, war. They have thousands of names and faces, and their domains often overlap, but each of them still has a concrete identity. Alongside them there are droves of spirits, both lesser and greater, that embody their subdomains. Half-forgotten tales claim that the gods existed in harmony with mankind in ancient times. In the current day, their only goal is to break through the veil and remake reality in their image. Their influence spreads like a cancer, twisting and breaking everything and everyone it touches. The world is broken, maybe irreversibly. Their influence isn't infinite though. Like a drop of ink in the ocean, even they dissipate without an appropriate vessel. These are their mortal shells, titanic bodies that can only barely contain a tiny fraction of a god's essence. These incursions happen at intervals of hundreds, sometimes even thousands of years, and all have been beaten back so far. There are 6 tyrant spirits: Hashorak, the insect god of blood and shadow; Morhu, the reptile god of fire and poison; Osandan, the mollusk god of water and thunder; Nevukar, the orchid god of death and plants; Faroch, the fish god of ice and earth; and Shiraya, the bird god who is light and wind. Hashorak, the red swarm, the one who grows in the dark, the insect god of blood and shadow. Hashorak was the first tyrant to invade the world. When it did, it came in the form of a centipede surrounded by legions of titanic vermin. Even so long after its mortal shell was slain, most of the world is still controlled by it. As the god of blood, it represents hunger, growth, and reproduction. As the god of shadow, it represents shelter and scheming. Those who pray to it usually worship its aspect of the mother, who gives children the health to reach adulthood. Others pray to the stalker for its help during the hunt, or seek the protection of the long shadows. In Aldrian cultures, worship of Hashorak and his aspects is strictly forbidden. In their belief system, the locust god fills a similar role to the devil. Instead, he is appeased by the prayer of madmen, deviants, and cultists. He is complemented by Nevukar in many ways. Both represent constant, shifting change, the cycle of death and birth. Hashorak is the beast that ravages the fields, while Nevukar is the mold that grows on their husks. Faroch, the god of stagnation, is Hashorak's greatest enemy. There can be no growth, no new life, no consumption, if all is still. Morhu is also Hashorak's enemy, as destruction is the antithesis of growth. When Hashorak is displeased, the beasts of the land become mad with hunger. Wounds weep and refuse to close. The skies turn red and even the moon bleeds. Its corruption turns the victim into half-insect hybrids with a distinctive 5-eye pattern. Large pedipals are common, as are wings and insectoid abdomens. Some rare few are born with bodies in the shape of a centipede. Hashorak's curse also affects reproduction. Mankind, the Skitterik and the Harkor are all examples. The Skitterik are small insectoids, but when they breed they fuse into a hulking amalgam. The ancestors of the Harkor were even more affected, and now every Harkor is born as a set of conjoined twins. Morhu, the seething flame, hatred made material, is the reptile god of war, fire, and venom. It invaded the world second, during the War of Three Kingdoms. Its mortal shell was a titanic crocodile. Although it was slain almost as soon as it appeared, it destroyed most of Morsum along with the 3 armies that fought it. As the god of fire, it represents mindless destruction, rage, and decisive action. But it also represents craftsmanship. It loves the creation and refinement of weapons of war, and the deadlier the better. Its aspect of poison represents hatred, bubbling from within, the scorn of revenge. It is the venom of a traitor and the fever of a sick man. It is typically prayed to as the smith, or as the seething man who burns away disease, or else as the judge who exacts his vengeance against all who wronged him. The truly mad worship him as the eunuch who only lives to betray those closest to him. When Mochur is angered, wildfires burn uncontrollably and the sick are burned to a crisp by fever. Disease runs rampant and tools break faster than they can be remade. Even the mountains themselves begin to vomit fire and choking smoke. Its corruption turns you into a reptile, and its emblem are the 3 eyes. Scales begin to cover the body. They can be smooth, sharp, tough, even slimy. Mouths and teeth grow in places they shouldn't, and some extend a full 360 degrees, opening like a zipper. Others grow venom sacs, slithering tongues, webbed fingers, or crocodilian tails. The most corrupted can even grow dragon wings. The swine of Morsum are the only species known to be fully corrupted by Mochur. Swamp men, a few Skitterik, and some Angarans are the only other known examples of partial corruption. Osandan, the Panopticon, the Eye of a Storm, the mollusk god of knowledge, water, and thunder. He was third to invade. Its mortal shell was a mollusk encased in carapace in the shape of an eye. More insidious than its rivals, it managed to keep its corrupting presence hidden somehow. It only revealed itself when the entirety of Namara, almost a fourth of the known world, had fallen under its sway. As the god of water, it represents the sea, constant change, and deep secrets. As the god of thunder, it represents knowledge, erratic action, and freedom. It is also the one who brings rain, who can control the clouds when it desires. Though Osandan is the watcher, the all-seeing, its greatest desire is not to be seen. Most worship it as the hermit, who hoards all of the world's knowledge for himself. Some worship it as the spy, who unveils all secrets, or as the mistress, who keeps them. Worship of Osan is most common among slaves and the pirates of Namara, the Sky Ocean. They honor him as the freedman, who can break free of any cage man can make. Osan is permanently at odds with Shiraya. Where Shiraya is destiny and direction, Osan is freedom and misdirection. Where she is mindless obedience and unity, Osan is skepticism and isolation. Shiraya guides you down the destined path. Osan will block only that path and open the rest. When he is displeased, the oceans rage and rain comes flooding down. Lightning storms burn entire cities to ash and thousands lose both their visions and minds. Osandan's emblem is a single eye, and its corruption turns its victims into mollusks. Some have hard shells and soft bodies, while others have no shell at all or are made entirely of shell. Bulbous, glowing brains are common, as are tentacles, ink sacs, and glowing lightning rod organs. The snails of East Namara are corrupted by Osandan. The Hakurim also carry subtle hints of his corruption. Nevukar, the blooming death, the beginning and the end, is the plant god of life and death. It has not managed to invade the world yet, though there are whispers that it is next in line. Its mortal shell is unknown, though it is presumed to be made of flowers, vines, bone and refuse. As the plant god, it represents growth, health, tenacity. As the death god, it represents rot, digestion and illness. Together it represents the cycle of life in its entirety, though its domain are only the plants of the world. Nevukar is worshipped as the farmer who grows crops, the woodsman who cuts away wild plants, and the undertaker who soothes the dead and dying. When Nevukar is angered, crops begin to fail. All kinds of weeds and thorn grass grow rampant. Food turns to mold in the mouths and stomachs of men, and the dead rise from their graves to prey on the living. Nevukar's emblem are 6 eyes. Its corruption turns all into plants, blossoming flowers or wretched orchards covered in the cloying stench of rot. Faroch, the everlasting, the one who protects, is the fish god of stagnation, earth and ice. As the god of earth, he represents stability, craftsmanship and endurance. As the god of ice, he represents apathy and rigidness. He is almost exclusively worshipped as the architect, the one who wishes to cover the world in buildings. Some few honor him as the artist, the patron of all beautiful things. Fewer still worship him as the sleeper who brings peace, but also eternal slumber. The rich and powerful pray to him as the Gaoler, who maintains the cage of social hierarchy. In this image, his domain overlaps of both Morhu, who crafts the cage, and Shiraya, who controls destiny. Faroch loves all things beautiful and sees beauty only in eternity. To him the world should be trapped in a snow globe, protected from change forever after. Great monuments and fine arts, though not everlasting, at least capture a sliver of eternity in them. And so Faroch is the greatest patron of both. He is opposed by Hashorak and Nevukah, the gods of change. Festering, twisting, changing, he finds nothing more repulsive in his perfect world of glass and marble. When he is displeased, rather than act, he simply allows the world to resume its natural movement. Earthquakes tear apart the land, ice melts and avalanches come sweeping down the mountains. Men die of age in the blink of an eye. His emblem are 7 spiral eyes. His corruption is somewhat paradoxical. In theory it should turn men into fish, but in practice this never happens. Instead they fall into a deep slumber before becoming statues of pure marble. Shiraya, the binding will, the one above, is the bird tyrant of destiny, light and wind. The final tyrant, some prophecies claim her coming will mark the end of the world. And prophecies are her domain. Shiraya is the god of predetermination. As the god of light, she represents knowledge, conviction, and direction. As the god of wind, she represents cleanliness, swift action, and tailwinds. Ironic for the ruler of the sun, the skies, and birds, but Shiraya represents the shackles of slavery more than anything else. The very notion of free will infuriates the tyrant. She is usually worshipped as the shepherd who guides her flock, the healer who mends all wounds, or the conqueror who crushes all under her ambition. Shiraya's worshippers hope to receive more favorable treatment when the red thread of fate is woven, or maybe even their future children's. Her emblem are the 4 eyes, arranged in a horizontal row. Her corruption turns victims into birds, sprouting wings until they collapse under their own weight. Some will begin to float unnaturally, unable to ever touch the ground again. Others grow feathers that glow dimly, or gain the ability to see and taste the world through those feathers. The Angara birds are the only species corrupted by Shiraya, though not in the usual way. Instead, they were created by Aldar during a failed ritual, or so they claim. And those, in summary, are the tyrants. There's still a lot more to go over in the future. For starters, there's lesser spirits and shamanism and maybe the beastmen and the mental effects of tyrant corruption. That's all for now though. Bye bye.